Hello and welcome to a very special show. I'm sure you've all seen the drama going on in Iran at the minute, and this week we have a world exclusive. Tonight we'll be joined by none other than Mohammad Reza, the former Shah of Iran.
Thank you.
Now. I'd like to kick things off by just providing a bit of background for our listeners. Now, as far as I can see, the Shah is, or should I say was, basically the king of Iran?
Yes I was. Until Khomeini and all them traitors took to the streets. Influenced by red and black reactionaries. They're not true Iranians.
Yes, Khomeini. We'll get to him later. And as I see it, you enjoyed a very healthy 31 years in power. You took Iran from a quasi-colony of Britain to the prime power in the Middle East with the 5th largest military in the world.
Yes.
Economic growth was tremendous. You were able to industrialise Iran with oil money and vastly improved GDP. You were even able to curb foreign influence in the oil industry and raise oil prices fourfold in the early 70s.
I did wonders for Iran. I have no idea why the people turned their back on me, why they sought a revolution. My work revolution was meant to stop such troubles. It increased literacy rates, gave women the vote, gave peasants land. Everybody was a winner.
Well, not everyone. What about the students without a job? The farmers whose land has been taken? The clergy whose traditional Islamic society had been tainted? Anyway, I'd like to ask you why you think the people took to the streets and rebelled. If you improved Iran in the way you have claimed.
I think the people are greedy. They expect too much. I remember reading Huntington, that American political scientist. He's very perceptive. And he said quick modernisation would inevitably lead to instability. Well, I couldn't have that. Iran needs stability to improve, and I provided that stability. That's why I had to clamp down. And I guess that may have been unpopular with some.
This clamp down you refer to, do you mean your decision to make Iran a one-party state in 1975?
Yes, I do. It simply had to be done. I need nothing but complete support to take Iran to the next step. It was good for the nation.
And I guess the blatant flaunting of human rights, when you rounded up, tortured, and even executed political opponents, was a necessity as well? Did that have to be done?
No comment.
Right. I'd like to go back to your earlier comment about the people being greedy. It could in fact be argued that they were perhaps the opposite of greedy when it came to change in Iran.
What do you mean?
Well, since you left office, Khomeini and his traditional beliefs have been welcomed by the Iranian people. From where I see it, providing stability would have been more effective in the form of embracing tradition, rather than forcing rapid modernisation on the people.
I did it for the country. You would think the people would embrace greater quality of life. They are so ungrateful.
Well, moving swiftly on. I'd also like to ask you about your relationship with the US. Is it right to say throughout your reign you considered the US a valuable friend?
Yes, a great friend, until the trouble started. Now I know they are only serving their own interests.
Do elaborate.
At the start of the reign, I thought the US were great. They saved my reign in 1953, when they got rid of Mossadegh.
The nationalist who threatened your royal power?
Yes, him. They were a great help after he was gone as well. The CIA trained my army, my secret police. American investment did wonders for my economy. They even let me buy all the arms I wanted, so Iran could be taken seriously on the world stage. I thought the US generally cared about Iran.
And now you don't?
No, I do not. Now I realise they only wanted Mossadegh out because he wanted to nationalise the oil, and that would hurt American pockets. That's all they care about. All their investment was purely to keep America rich. Their military helped to stop the Soviets gaining influence in the region. They only care about themselves.
But the US considered Iran a valuable ally until the revolution. They even sent General Heiser to help you deal with the protests.
Help? He didn't help. He was sent merely to encourage support. They certainly weren't shy to properly get involved in 1953. So why are they now? Difference is no American money is at stake. If Carter was too concerned with stupid human rights to properly help out a so-called friend, then he's no longer a friend.
Whoa, okay. I think we'll leave that topic alone for today. Obviously a touchy subject. Speaking of which, I'm sure the American public would love to hear your thoughts on Khomeini and the revolutionaries.
Traitors is the word I'd use to describe Khomeini and those who follow him. He's just one of many traitors to my country. They will find any ridiculous reason to revolt and harm the country.
What do you mean by one of many traitors?
Well, first it was the Constitutionalists and in the National Front. Then came the Marxists and the Islamists, and they have all joined forces with Khomeini. The Mujahideen, the Tudor, the Combat Clergy Association, they use ideology and religion as an excuse to challenge my leadership. The thing with the Iranian people is they will find any reason to kick up a fuss.
It appears that unrest has been building up in Iran for quite some time now. How have you tried to deal with revolutionaries in the past?
Well, I clamped down, and no one seemed to care then.
It could be argued that the people did care, but the opposing groups didn't have the right cause or materials to fully succeed in a revolution beforehand. Anyway, can you think of any other reasons why the people might be dissatisfied with your rule?
Well, I know they hate the Americans.
Could you expand on that for me?
Ever since the Americans started coming over to our country, they've remained separate from the people. Staying localised in Tehran, separate schools, separate communities, no effort to embrace our language and culture. The people hate that.
It seems that you lost more than just the public's support. Military mutiny was quite common for over a year, and your own military leader, Azari, resigned.
Yes, not only have the public betrayed me, but even the military have turned against me. Governing was impossible without my military. Azari went behind my back and worked with Khomeini to draw up a declaration of lies.
It seems to me that the declaration merely pointed out your unconstitutional rule and called upon the public for a popular revolution. Didn't they believe this was the best way to make a new, fair government based on the demands of the masses?
Demands of the masses? After 1 month, there have already been women's protests. The revolution will not be a success. The groups will soon see Khomeini is hungry for power. The two are growing irrelevant now the revolution is done.
Going back to my other question, which you sneakily avoided, how would you describe Khomeini in your own words?
I would describe him as a radical, a traitor, and a tyrant. It's no accident he spent 14 years in exile. The man is extremely dangerous. He may paint me as oppressor, but soon the Iranian people will know true oppression.
You talk about true oppression. What do you mean by this?
Khomeini's strict traditional beliefs will have the people with no freedom. No drinking, no dancing, no women's rights. They'll soon see.
And how would you describe Khomeini's beliefs as far as you understand them?
I would not answer that. If you wanted that answered, you should have got Khomeini on, not me.
All right, I meant no offence, Mr. Reza. I'll rephrase my question. Is it fair to suggest your dislike for Khomeini's ideology stems from its opposition to everything you stood for?
What do you mean?
Well, essentially, Khomeini's prime teaching, Velayat Faqih, argues that only just government can come from that run by the clergy. This belief completely opposes your move towards secularising Iran during your reign.
You could say that, yes.
And Khomeini has also advocated for women taking traditional roles as homemakers, and he discussed attacking big business built on foreign investment. Is this not completely against the ideals of the White Revolution?
Yes, that's true, but...
And the Ayatollah has also been very outspoken in his hate for the US, calling us the Great Satan. Is this not also the complete opposite of your reign, which was characterised with America's friendship?
Yes, but...
My point is then, Mr. Reza, does the popularity of Khomeini's beliefs not just simply stem from the Iranian people's discontent with your rule? And just before we draw this interview to a close, is there anything you want to leave us with? Maybe a message to the public or to your nation?
Well, yes. I'm disappointed in my country and my people for being brainwashed by the traitors they view as revolutionaries. All my efforts to make Iran great have been forgotten. Khomeini and his government will be no less oppressive. His radical views and refusal to bring Iran into the modern world will only harm the country. We will no longer be a relevant world power if he refuses to embrace globalisation.
Right, well, thank you for coming in today to give us your personal take on the situation in Iran at the moment.
Maybe it will help the people see sense. And thank you for having me.
And I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. If we could all give a big hand for Mr. Reza. After the break, we'll be joined by our next guests, the super talented Bee Gees, as they discuss the release of their new album.